Do you think that the world is small? Like, we can't possibly fit inside this little country, this little world, right? Like, it has to be packed. It has to be, like, filled to the brim almost, or at least close to it. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. I travel around the entire country. I go from state to state, coast to coast. I see all of it, from the desert to the forest to the mountains and trees to the, you know, shrubs and sand. I see it all. And I'm here to tell you that it is much, much bigger than what we realize. Now, traveling around the states and seeing everything firsthand is pretty interesting. I've seen so many different things, like the sunset is different from state to state. When you go from the east to the west, the time changes and everything is just kind of different. Climates change constantly, and rain is constantly on and off. I don't know if you guys have ever traveled, but I'm sure that sounds pretty familiar. And yeah, it's just a very interesting way to live your life. I mean, I'm a semi-truck operator. I'm a truck driver. And that's basically what I see every single day, is just the countryside, the nature, and the stuff that people typically cannot see when they live just in the city. And, you know, I'm used to the city. I don't come from, but I live in a pretty, like, medium-sized city. So I'm adjusted to that. And so when I first started driving as a truck driver, this was kind of jarring. I mean, I gotta say, it was pretty nerve-wracking, honestly, especially when you drive at night, just in the pitch black darkness. You're not used to that. You were just not used to that. Honestly, the world felt very small to me before I started driving. There's so many things that I thought I knew about the world, and thought that there wasn't too much more space than I could imagine in the world. But honestly, I was very, like, vastly wrong about that. I thought that the whole eastern side, at least, of the states was pretty much just packed to the brim with people, because that's where most of the population is at. But after driving through it, I was very, very happily surprised that there's a lot of room still. There's a lot of forest and trees, surprisingly. I don't know if that's just like I don't know, like, I don't know if this is just my perspective, just being inexperienced, like a person that's just inexperienced about things, or what. But yeah, it was pleasantly surprising. I mean, I saw rivers and streams. I saw forests, full, thick forests. And I've seen plenty of roadkill, sadly. I see that all throughout the U.S. You can't go down a freeway without seeing that. So, but there is plenty of other cool things. I like seeing rundown places that just have not been touched for, like, the longest time. And, you know, it kind of reignites my creative juices. You know what I mean? Like, I just get very inspired whenever I see vacant, rundown, abandoned places. There was this one place I saw that was an abandoned, like, 10, 12 story, like, hotel. And it was all graffitied up. The whole outside of the building had graffiti. All the windows were knocked out. And it was just completely abandoned, all by itself out in the desert. Nothing else around it. And those things are just, like, the coolest things to see. Especially, like, imagining going through and exploring them at night or something like that. I think that is just the most craziest thing in the world to me. And it just makes me think of, like, the different things I can shoot, the different angles I can get of, like, man, like what if like I caught like a beam of moonlight streaming down, and like I caught like a good like shot of B-roll of the building with the moonlight. I think that would just be so cool. And like I said, I see that all throughout the US. I see cabins out in the middle of nowhere, run down, broken down, fallen over. And it kind of reminds me of like all of our history as the states, as the US. And it just reminds me exactly how big the world is. I'm the kind of person that likes to pay attention to like all the small things in the world, the little pieces of grass growing in between the concrete slabs of the sidewalk, the vines growing on the fences, the streams of rainwater running down your windshield, droplets coming off of leaves and stuff. Like I like looking at like the finer details of nature, even with the trash strewn about nature. At this point, it's kind of part of it. And in its own way, it's beautiful because it shows the treatment that we give nature and the history of that, pretty much. And because it's been so like involved in nature for so long, that it pretty much is a part of it, and it has its own type of beauty. I don't know if any of y'all feel that way as well or not, but that's how I feel. And not to say that it's good or anything, it's actually quite awful. But there is so much more room than we expect or understand. I don't even know how to explain it. I see miles and miles and miles of flat land, mountains, and things like that. And it's just empty. It's just empty. Like there's nothing in there. If it's a forest, then it's just like a forest, thick and healthy. Like there's no like just barren mountains and stuff. I see that in certain regions, where the mountains are just barren, but that's just like the geography of like the area, so it's interesting. It's cool seeing the different areas. I saw birch trees for the first time, and honestly, with all this in mind, right? With all of this in mind, what does that mean when it comes to being an introvert, right? Because I hate being outside. I love being outside, but I hate it, right? So what does that all mean when you feel that way? Well, as a creator, as someone who likes to make things and produce things and do things, I get heavily inspired, like I mentioned, and it is pretty much unmatched in terms of how it creates the motivation for me. I can sit here and I can try to rack my brain and watch different pieces of reference and inspiration on YouTube or what have you to try to, create that spark in my head. But every time like right now I'm sitting in front of my windshield, just in the driver's seat of my truck, and I'm just looking out into like some brush and stuff, and it just rained and stuff, and it just looks so nice that like it's almost like it calms my brain down to the point where it can be creative again, if that makes sense. Because as I've become an adult, things have just become so crazy. The struggle to like pay my bills and be able to save and get to the next level where like I don't have to eat ramen only for like a week straight, and like PBJs and stuff, and like be able to actually have some real food. Getting past that point and going through all this struggle has really crowded my mind over the years, and at the end of the day, it's really dampened down my creative thoughts. I feel almost empty with creative thoughts, and that's how I've been feeling for a while now, and it's just barely starting to come back. So with all that being said, I believe you can be introverted, you can stay inside, you could do everything that you want to do indoors and be by yourself and still be able to appreciate the outdoors and take value from it to help you grow and help you create. If you want to create, if that's what you want to do. So, if you are introverted, the best thing is to do is just to step outside. I mean, I know that I don't do it as much as I should, but it's the best thing to do. The second best thing to do is just to sit here and look at it. Listen to it, feel it, smell it, right? So, try those things. Sit there for a few minutes and let things rumble around inside your little brain, and let things pop up. I've mentioned this in multiple videos now, and I just will keep saying it, I guess. But it does not have to be perfect. It just does not have to be perfect. I mean, I have a very specific expectation for this channel and the type of videos I want to produce for this channel. And at the end of the day, if I'm stressing myself out so much to hit those expectations to the point where I don't end up doing anything and I just want to stay inside and I just stay stuck in this analyzation mode where I'm just looking at everything to try to create the thing that I want it to be, then I'm just not going to get anywhere, right? And I feel like I've been talking about this nonstop in these videos. I feel like I just keep mentioning it over and over and over again. It's all I talk about. But that's how I feel. You know what I mean? That's just to be transparent. I just have not been getting over this feeling, pretty much. And I don't have too much else to talk about. I'm sure there's a lot of things that I could talk about, but I just feel like this is the prominent thing in my head. I can't focus on anything else other than this, almost. And until I get past this point, I feel like, it's going to stay this way. And I hate it because I want to talk about other things and I want to focus on other things and get better at other things. So, I digress. I love the smell of nature. I love smelling it. I love looking at it. And I love when it looks back at me. You know what I mean? Gives me some fresh rain and cool breeze. So just try to appreciate that a little bit more. And these are just words for myself. But if you feel any similar way to what I've mentioned, go ahead and give that a try. Appreciate the nature around you a little bit more and see what it gives you back. You know what I mean? The world is here for us, and we are supposed to be here for the world. And through the history of all of our trash being strewn about nature, just wreaking havoc, it shows how much we've been there for nature. So the least that we can do is at least look at it for how it is right now, because it's not going to get any more beautiful than it is right now. It's just going to get uglier and uglier and uglier as it gets more trash ridden. So appreciate nature as it is right now, because it will never be the same. And with that, hopefully it'll inspire you. Maybe it's different for other people, but this is how it works for me. So give that a try. Let me know if that helps at all. I want to know down in the comment section down below. If you guys have ever gone out to nature, I'm sure there's a lot of people that like to hike and stuff or camp. So let me know if this is a feeling that you've had. If you like to connect to nature in this way. I feel very connected to the earth and nature and life, So that's what kind of refreshes me and fills me up with inspiration and ideas. So, yeah, let me know down in the comment section below. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So, like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.